evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu emphasizes during a memorial ceremony of the country's first leader, David Ben Gurion, that during a time of crisis, a good leader must make bold decisions even when facing domestic criticism. The Islamist Hamas organization refers to the resignation of Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman, who tendered his resignation this morning, as a clear victory for the so-called Palestinian resistance. The U.S. Special Representative for Syria Engagement stressed that one of Washington's basic principles for ending the Syria conflict pertains to the departure of Iranian forces from the war-torn country. Following the Israeli Security Cabinet's decision to seek a long-term cessation of hostilities with Hamas, which led to the resignation of Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman, who advocated going to war with the Islamist organizations in the Gaza Strip, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asserted that during a time of crisis, a good leader must make bold decisions, even when facing domestic criticism. Netanyahu underscored that while he understands the public's frustration, critical decisions in the field of security cannot be made under emotional duress.
בעת שגרה, מנהיג חייב להיות קשוב לרחשי הלב של העם. ויש לנו עם חכם. אבל בעת חירום, בעת החלטות גורליות בתחום הביטחון, הציבור לעתים אינו יכול להיות שותף לשיקולים המכריעים שיש להסתירם מהאויב מכל משמר. ברגעים אלה, מנהיגות זה לא לעשות את הדבר הקל. מנהיגות זה לעשות את הדבר הנכון, גם אם הוא קשה. מנהיגות זה לעמוד לפעמים מול ביקורת. כשאתה יודע דברים חסויים ורגישים, שאינך יכול לחלוק עם אזרחי ישראל, ובמקרה זה תושבי הדרום, שאני כל כך אוהב ומעריך אותם.
The Israeli leader, who spoke during a state memorial ceremony for the country's first prime minister and his wife, Paula and David Ben Gurion, attempted to vaguely explain to the southern communities of the Jewish state, who were subject to indiscriminate rocket fire from the terror organizations in the Palestinian enclave, that his decision-making emanates from a clear understanding based on a broad picture of the situation that cannot be shared with the public for security reasons.
אני שומע את קולם של תושבי הדרום. האמינו לי, הם יקרים לי. דבריהם חודרים לליבי. אבל יחד עם ראשי זרועות הביטחון, אני רואה את התמונה הכוללת של ביטחון ישראל, שאינני יכול לשתפה עם הציבור. הלוואי שהייתי יכול לשתף את אזרחי ישראל בכל מה שאני יודע. אבל בביטחון ישראל, רב הנסתר על הגלוי.
The Prime Minister concluded his speech by reaffirming his commitment to the security of the Jewish state and vowed to continue, together with Jerusalem's security establishment, to lead the country with responsibility for the sake of Israel's future.
אויבינו התחננו להפסקת אש, והם יודעים היטב למה. אינני יכול לפרט את תוכניותינו להמשך. אנחנו נקבע את התנאים והזמנים הנכונים למדינת ישראל, הנכונים לביטחון אזרחינו.
Meanwhile, Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman tendered his letter of resignation this morning, which will go into effect within 48 hours. A close confidant of the outgoing defense minister told TV7 that Lieberman's decision to resign and withdraw his Israel-Hamas faction from the coalition originated from ongoing frustration over the prime minister's indecisive decision-making vis-à-vis the terror emanating from the Gaza Strip. The source further explained that Avigdor Lieberman will seek early elections to allow the Israeli public to decide the fate of the country, and believes that his faction will gain additional mandates to return to the country's leadership as part of a future government that will provide him with more influence in Jerusalem. Meanwhile, residents of southern Israel voiced mixed feelings at the resignation of the outgoing Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman.
The situation here in the south is kind of not okay for the past 8 months. We feel like people have forgotten us, as if we're not as important as the rest of the country. And Lieberman resigning from his duty is understandable. I can understand where he's coming from. I think he's doing the right thing.
אני חושבת שההתפטרות לא תביא לשום פתרון. עשייה אפשר לעשות בתוך הממשלה, ורצוי לעשות אותה בתוך הממשלה. אני מאמינה שיש שיקולים שגרמו לקבינט לעשות את ההחלטות כפי שנעשו. אני סומכת על הקברניטים שלנו שיודעים את התשובות.
It is important to note that it remains unclear whether Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will accede to the Jewish Home Party's demand to appoint Education Minister Naftali Bennett as Defense Minister, or whether he will opt to call early elections instead. Two of Netanyahu's closest associates revealed in an interview to Israel's state radio last night that appointing Minister Bennett as Israel's top defense official would require the consent of Kulanu Party chairman, Finance Minister Moshe Kahlon, who, according to reports, would prefer early elections. Meanwhile, in Gaza City, one of the leaders of the Islamist Hamas organization referred to the resignation of Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman as a clear victory for the Palestinian resistance.
هذا يمثل انتصارا للمقاومة وإقرارا بالفشل، وهي إحدى تداعيات فشل الجريمة التي ارتكبت بحق خان يونس وفشل سياسة ليبرمان بفرض الحصار على قطاع غزة وصمود وثبات شعبنا الفلسطيني.
While the Islamist organizations voiced satisfaction at the resignation of the Israeli defense minister, who was perceived by them as a powerful and unpredictable adversary, Hamas's rivals in the West Bank noted that Avigdor Lieberman is expected to capitalize on the situation and return to Israel's leadership following future elections with additional executive powers. During a press conference in the West Bank city of Ramallah, Palestinian Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki stressed that Avigdor Lieberman is clearly seeking to elevate his position with a clear aspiration to replace Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Now to Washington, where the U.S. Special Representative for Syria Engagement, Ambassador James Jeffrey, reaffirmed during a special policy briefing at the U.S. State Department the Trump administration's commitment to accomplish its goals for the war-torn country that were laid out by President Donald Trump in May, which include the defeat of the Islamic State, restarting a UN-facilitated political process, and to generally de-escalate the war-torn country.
What we're looking for is the enduring defeat of ISIS, a reinvigorated and irreversible political process in Syria, led by the Syrian people and facilitated by the UN, and de-escalation of the conflict that will include all Iranian-commanded forces departing from the entirety of Syria.
Ambassador Jeffrey also asserted during his address that while Syrian President Bashar al-Assad claims that he is winning the war, the reality on the ground is far from the propaganda voiced by the Damascus regime and its Russian patron.
The Syrian government claims in its diplomatic contacts that it is winning, but it controls only about half plus of the country, its territory. Half of the population has fled its horrific rule, either as internally displaced persons or refugees across the border. And the international community treats, most of it treats Syria as a pariah, and reconstruction funds are not going to flow either from us or from most of the rest of the international community that provides typically reconstruction funds until we see a great deal more progress on the agenda I'll lay out.
While the American envoy listed Washington's detailed agenda for Syria, he also emphasized that one of the basic principles for ending the Syria conflict pertains to the departure of the Iranian forces from the war-torn country. That said, Ambassador Jeffrey underscored that Iran's departure is not a military goal of the United States. Thank you for watching us. Praying for the peace of Israel and the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Jonathan Hassan. Have an Erev Tov, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.